You know about these guys. But do you know about these gems? At the shops of Southlake, there's something for the whole family to enjoy. The shops of Southlake. We are so much more.
A big win for the Dragons tonight. And as we begin our player interviews, let's start in the offensive side of the football, and a guy who had so much to do with this, running back Paul Stevenson, 21 carries, 171 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And oh, by the way, caught 5 passes for 47 yards. All in all, a pretty good night. Paulie, how good was that victory? Having just won one by the skin of your teeth last week, was this one better?
I was just thinking, I was telling all my old linemen fourth quarter, we've been in way too many of these. 2 is way too many, but I'm glad we pulled it out in the end. It was a lot of fun.
And the ending was spectacular. In overtime, the 17-yard touchdown run, you burst through the hole, you take it to the outside, and then deliver the stiff arm. Talk a little bit about that play. What was the call? What were you seeing down there on the field?
The call was actually an inside run play, even though I ended up on the outside. I had great blocking by my own line on the inside, and then, when I got to the exterior, I just, tried to make it in, and it worked out.
The strength of that Berkner defense coming into this game was said to be their defensive front, and those are guys that are pretty active and aggressive, and yet at times it looked like the offensive line was just blowing huge holes into that defensive front. Can you talk a little bit about the play of the line?
Oh, my big boys up front were, destroying it all night for me. If I would have had it my way, we would have been running it all night. They were doing great up there. We've had trouble in the beginning weeks, but, they really stepped up tonight and made me look good.
When you have a situation, as you did earlier in the game, where you have one miscue and obviously the ability to bounce back from that and have good things to come later on in the game, how important is that? How quickly do you flush a mistake and say, it's okay, I'm going to get back in the right side of the column and make big things happen here?
Right when it happened, to be honest, I was pretty bummed, but I came off the sidelines, and, my coaches, my teammates were encouraging me, telling me, forget about it, have a short-term memory, and that's what I did.
What was the mood of the offense when you guys got the ball back down 24-14? You hadn't had a lot of luck moving the ball, at least for the couple of possessions prior to that. What was the mood in the huddle? What was said?
Not much was said. Our offense knew exactly what we had to do. We've had ups and downs. We had ups and downs all night. We know we needed to score a touchdown, so that's what we did, and we just punched it in.
Did you feed off what you experienced a week ago, having gone through a very similar situation? It's late in the game. Of course, last week you were driving to try to win it, and, of course, you had the tie in your pocket already there. This time, the stakes a little bit higher because you had to have the field goal to tie. But were there similarities between the 2 weeks?
Definitely. It all came down to that fourth quarter buzzer, and, I knew Mac would pull it out for us. I wasn't really worried about it after last week.
We've talked about it here in the booth, the importance of going into district play 2-1 in the ledger as opposed to 1-2. It's easy for us to speculate about what that might mean to you guys up here, but why don't you give us some thoughts as to just how big this victory is for the Dragons heading into district play?
It's a huge victory, especially at home. It's a great home opener. I think that this momentum is definitely going to carry on into district play.
So what's your deal with lacrosse? That's kind of your number 2 sport, right?
I don't know about that. I love lacrosse. My big brother played lacrosse all through high school and football, so, that's just another part of my life. I love doing it.
Saw it on your bio there. It's like Mac last week. He was a soccer player and a football player. I thought lacrosse was like your number 2 thing, so thought I'd throw that in there just as a kind of get you out the door thing. Thanks so much for a huge night. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
That's our interview with our offensive player of the game. That's Paul Stevenson out of the backfield with his 171 yards and 2 touchdowns, including the game winner. Again, that visit brought to you by the shops of Southlake.